You're listening to Power Talk, Berkeley Electric Cooperative's official broadcast about the cooperative, our communities, and ways to use energy wisely. And now, let's join our hosts for today's episode.
Good morning, Lowcountry. I'm Libby Rohrig, Director of Marketing and Communications for Berkeley Electric Cooperative, and I have a full studio today with lots of great information about how a couple of important organizations that the co-op partners with are helping the community, and you'll learn how you can pitch in and help them. So I am joined by my co-host, Brianna Johnson, Public Relations Representative for the cooperative. Welcome, Brianna.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you.
And our special guest, Mr. Rick Counts, Executive Director of South Carolina Hunters for the Hungry. Welcome.
Thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to this.
And Brenda Shaw, Chief Development Officer for Lowcountry Food Bank. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well, we start every show with a couple of traditions, so we want to get to know you guys a little bit before we dive into what your respective missions do separately as well as together. But we have a couple of gifts for you guys. A fine Power Talk mug. Use it wisely and for any of your beverages. It's a small token of appreciation for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Sitting down with us.
Any beverage is what you're saying.
Yes, or soups.
That works
Ice
too.
cream.
Chicken noodle soup. There we go.
So for the other half of this, Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what questionable decisions you made to bring you here today?
Well, we might be here a while. I've been around the block a little bit. Starting off, I was actually a teacher and a coach for 29 years, retired. And toward the end of my career, I started doing fundraising as a coach. And it led me to a position as a fundraiser with the Quality Deer Management Association that I spent over 10 years doing, and just in the last year have been hired as the executive director of South Carolina Hunters for the Hungry. And just now, I guess, will be my first full year of trying to implement the programs that we have in place for the whole state. And it's a little more challenging than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
But it's still real rewarding to see the fruits of our labor with people like Lowcountry Food Bank. So.
Right. So what sport did you coach, or sports?
I coached mainly football, but I also coached track for about half of my career, and spent a little bit of time coaching JV basketball in my early career. And also was a referee for wrestling. So
Oh, wow.
I did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So where are you hailing from today?
I live in Lexington.
Okay.
So I drove down last night just so I'd be here and not have to worry about traffic and weather and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Both of which are a problem here.
Yes.
Well, welcome again. And Brenda, how about you?
Sure. So I'm originally from Ohio, just like so many people here. Don't kick me out. But I've been with the Lowcountry Food Bank just about 8 years.
Okay.
And really started working in fundraising a long time ago, but have a background in higher education. But when I came down here, I was still working for a college in Ohio, traveling a lot. And when the position came open at the food bank, it was something that really touched my heart. My mother was the food service director of our school system growing up. And so it was always at the forefront of our family. You know, we had a pantry at our church that we volunteered at. My mom always had to manage, the free and reduced lunch programs. And, one of the things that she says that she was always most proud of is when the school district started doing summer meals. And so they were feeding kids year round. So, really the mission of the food bank just touches my heart.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you both have a calling to the work that you're doing now. And we know you're definitely making communities across the Lowcountry for Lowcountry Food Bank and across the state for Hunters for the Hungry. So thanks for all that you do.
Absolutely. We know food is everyone needs food. No
That's right.
matter
Yeah.
where you are financially, you need food to survive.
Yeah.
So we've invited y'all both here today to discuss the good work your organizations are doing in the community. Berkeley Electric is super proud and honored to partner with each of you and just, support your missions. So, Rick, for those who may not be familiar with the organization, what is SC Hunters for the Hungry?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity again to be here. Probably the best way to describe it is we take deer that people harvest and they're donated to a participating processor, and then that processor takes that meat, turns it into ground venison or snack sticks, and then we donate it to food pantries, shelters, transition homes, and so forth, and even sheriff's departments, and we even partner with the National Guard Family Readiness Program. So there's a lot of different avenues, and the more I'm learning about this position, I'm trying to find even more organizations. I mean, a lot of people know about Lowcountry Food Bank, and then there's others across the state, but all the little small ones that you don't know about, and people are calling me up, hey, is there a way we can get some donated meat for our organization? So it's really rewarding, as we said, to be able to do this. So
Our CEO is a big hunter of all different kinds of game, and I was just telling him today, and he was like, well, I've got several tags, and so we might try to get him hooked up with you. But what I thought was interesting about your organization is it's the whole supply chain from harvest to the plate, and everything in between that you guys are managing. So seems like a lot to handle, but also a very important outlet for a lot of our hunters. And we'll talk later in the show about how, if you are a deer hunter, how you can get involved and help extend your season while also helping lots of families in the state.
Yeah, we'll probably get into this more, but we donated over 60,000 pounds of venison last year to the state, so that was one of the highlights that I was pretty proud of. And then the other thing is we donated in 41 of 46 counties last year. So that was, again, a goal was to try to get statewide, which we're not completely statewide, but we're close.
Yeah, getting there.
Yes. I think that you can confidently say you are statewide at this point. 41 counties is impressive. So thank you for that work. That is a lot more than a lot of organizations can do, and some organizations aren't willing to go that far. Just they're afraid to stretch out that far. So the fact that y'all are taking on that challenge and tackling that is extremely impressive. So yes, you are statewide, definitely.
Well, and I will say too, the one of our biggest partner is the processor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the hunter is very important because they've got to harvest the deer and take it to the processor. But having the processor do all the extra work, cleaning the deer and so forth, and getting everything into packaging to get it to the food pantries, that's a huge part of the whole program. But we're always looking for more processors if anybody out there is interested. So
Absolutely. Well, Brenda, same question to you. What is Lowcountry Food Bank's mission? I know there's a lot to cover, but let us know what it is.
So to boil it all down, the real mission of the food bank is to provide consistent access to nutritious food throughout the 10 coastal counties that we serve. So it's about 9,000 square miles that we serve, and 1 in 5 children in our service area is considered food insecure, and that's just too much. It's too much. And so, we really try to work in a variety of different ways. We have about 230 partner agencies, and those are the food pantries that you see in places of worship, community centers, senior centers. But we also have school food center programs where we are working with our schools to make sure that kids are getting backpack buddy bags for the weekend. If the school has space, we can open up a pantry in the school so the children and their families can go in and select the foods that they want for their families. So we have a variety of different programs that really tries to address food insecurity throughout the 10 counties.
Awesome. So this is something that I love to hear when it comes to fundraising. I know that is super important right now. We'll get more into that later, but about how much of each dollar goes directly to fulfilling the mission of Lowcountry Food Bank.
Yeah, so 96 cents out of every dollar goes to direct programs and services. So, yeah, we're proud of that. We have a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator it's been over 15 straight years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's why we're proud to partner with y'all.
Thank
we
you.
know that it's going towards the mission and going, where it matters. So
Yeah.
that is awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Brenda, for sharing.
Sure.
Yeah, and Brenda, just to settle in on your mission a little bit more, it's ironic that in the U.S. we have such an obesity epidemic, but we also have a food insecurity epidemic as well. And those two don't really seem to fit together. But just this past weekend, my family and I were fortunate to be able to go to a fast food restaurant and have lunch. And the receipt was sitting on the table, and I was giving my 10-year-old son a hard time about he wanted to go out to eat, and so we did. And he was like, well, your food was more expensive than mine, because he got the chicken combo, and I had a salad and a diet lemonade. And I said, yeah, healthy food often is much more expensive than the unhealthy food.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that does contribute to the obesity issue, is that it's cheaper to buy ultra-processed foods that, can be shelf-stable for years,
Right.
and so it really does contribute to that, to the obesity problem.
Yeah.
So, we really try to focus on distributing whole foods. So our goal every year is that 60% be whole foods. 35% of that is produce. So, we really try to focus on making sure that we're getting nutritious food out into the community.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, Rick, let's dive a little bit deeper into how your organization works. I mentioned you guys are controlling the whole supply chain, which is a lot. So walk us through the scenario of hunters out in the woods and ...
Okay. Basically, kind of hit on it a little bit, but we'll dive deeper. Once the deer is harvested and the hunter decides, I'm donating this deer, then they have to find a participating processor, which of course they'd have to go to our website, and we have 43 processors across the state right now. Looking to add more, as I said, and they're in 33 counties in the state, which there is not a processor in every county in the state. There's, I think, 2 or 3 counties there is no deer processor.
Okay.
So there's anybody that's looking to market, I will tell you, Fairfield County, there's not a processor that I'm aware of, and that's one of the hotbeds for hunting in South Carolina. So
Wow.
if somebody's looking for a entrepreneurship, there's a great opportunity. So,
Yeah.
But once they find a processor, they take it to the processor. And then one thing that I was going to talk about a little bit is once they take the deer to the processor, they can also be in our Deer for Gear giveaway, which we didn't talk about prior, but
Sure.
I thought I'd bring it up because
Yeah.
I mentioned it at the church this past week. But basically what happens is, as a hunter, if I donate a deer, let's say she's the processor, I'm basically entering myself into the drawing, and then I'm entering the processor in for the drawing.
Oh, okay.
So we have a drawing for the hunter and a drawing for the processor, and they're separate. So the hunter can win guns and tree stands and coolers and
All kinds
binoculars and all kind of different things. We gave out 10 prizes last year, and I hope to do at least that again this year. And then as far as the processor, we give them tools or materials that are used for processing, whether that be knives or packaging or whatever, or just a gift card that they can buy what they need.
Sure.
So we're trying to expand that program as well. So again, once that food is at the processor and the ground venison is put into packaging, then we basically call the food pantry, whether it's small or large, and that also has to do with the actual processor, because the processor may have a huge cooler the size of this room, or it may be half of the size of this table. And so he's putting deer meat away, and he's like, hey, I don't have any more space because I've got all these other customers.
Yeah.
I can donate 100 pounds at a time, or I can donate 5,000 pounds at a time. So depending on the size of the processor, we can work with them and say, hey, I'm donating 50 pounds this week or this month or whatever. And then they call the process or the food pantry or so forth and say, hey, I've got this meat. It's how many pounds? Come pick it up. So we treat the food pantry or the end user basically just like any other customer.
Right.
So there's no, hey, I'm a processor, I've got to go take this to the food pantry or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the equipment that they can talk about that they can go pick it up as a refrigerated truck and so forth and keep it cool and so forth and not have to worry about any of the issues with anything spoiling and traveling a long distance. I actually had somebody come from Myrtle Beach to Sumter at the end of the year last year to pick up deer meat.
Wow.
Because they were looking for deer meat and just called me out of the blue. And I said, well, I actually have 600 pounds in Sumter County that I can donate to you that I'm looking for somewhere. So there's always that issue of trying to find a partner in that county so they're not having to drive an hour or more to get the meat. So that's one of the things that again, logistics, we continue to work on logistics to try to simplify it for everybody.
And who pays for the processing?
South Carolina Hunters for the Hungry pays for the processing. We're trying to, again, improve that amount that we can pay the processor, but it all relates to funding, and we're looking for funding. We're looking for funding. Always looking for funding.
Yes, we are.
So anything that people can do to donate, and one of the things, too, we can do is if the hunter wants to just donate the deer straight up to the processor and pay for the processing, they're actually going to end up paying a little more for it that way, but that's something they can do, or they can donate directly to our website that way. Contact me, whatever. There's a lot of different ways as far as donating and getting funding to help pay for all the processing. So,
And about how much does it cost to process, let's say, one deer?
well, about an average, I'd say it's about $125 per deer. Some of them are 100, some of them are 150, and that's just a basic cut. That's just getting the basics. When you start adding in snack sticks and jerky and sausages and cube steaks and all these other types of things, then there's extra work involved and the price goes up. So you may be paying $200 for or more to get your deer meat to get it done a certain way. So everybody has their favorite meat that they'd like, jalapeno sausages and all these different breakfast sausages and all these other different things that people want that they can make out of deer meat that you just can't get that in a regular cut. So it's basically 125 is about average.
And you guys do all ground venison for your processing?
Yeah, everything's packaged in. Some people do 2 pound, but we have 1 pound or 2 pound package venison, and then of course we have the snack sticks, which we work directly with several Lowcountry Food Bank being one of them with the backpack program. So we'll talk about that later too.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. So Rick, there's a lot of ways to get involved with S3E Hunters for the Hungry as a hunter, deer processor, or donor. So can you tell us, kind of shifting gears a little bit, tell us a little bit more about the benefits of deer hunting and why it's important to manage the size of the state's herd? Yes.
As a matter of fact, at our dinner this past weekend, we had Charles Ruth, who's the big game coordinator for the state of South Carolina, and we talked about the number of deer there are in South Carolina and how to manage those deer and so forth. And if you're not managing your deer herd, this is really weird. I just remembered when I ate lunch today, this gentleman saw me in my outfit, uniform, whatever you want to call it, and was like, so what is it you do? And I started talking to him and told him. He's like, well, we really need to take some more does on our property. And we had a conversation, and He actually said he was going to try to watch this one, so I'm shouting out to you. But it was interesting that we talked about just not managing the deer herd. And that's something you have to do, because if you're just out shooting a buck and that's all you want to shoot, then or harvest, I want to use the right term there, some people get offended. But basically, if you're harvesting the deer, you want to harvest as many does, or maybe even more does than you are bucks. It should have a 50-50 ratio, but that's not necessarily the case if you're not taking the does. And then what happens is your population gets overpopulated, which can lead to a lot of different issues. There's malnourishment, there's over browsing, where actually the browse line can be almost as high as the ceiling, where the deer are standing on their hind legs, and anything below that line, there's nothing for them to eat. That's just how that overpopulation. Another thing that can be, of course, detrimental to farmers is if there's too many deer, they're out eating their crops, they're not making any money. Then they're filing for insurance and issues with that. And then there's also car accidents. If there's too many deer, especially in the lower state of South Carolina, there's even more because of all the agriculture. There's a lot of issues with, car accidents, and to the point that sometimes it can cause death from the person either swerving or the deer coming through the windshield. So there's a lot of different ways that they can cause problems. So we need to manage the herd as much as possible and make sure that we're doing it in a ethical way.
Yeah.
And by partnering with you, hunters can actually extend their deer season, correct?
Oh yes, great point. Thank you. So also, as a hunter, your freezer's the size of this table, maybe 4x8 freezer or something, or not even 3x8, whatever they are. But you got a chest freezer. You can only put 2, maybe 3 deer in that freezer with all the other materials that you might carry for your family, and that might be all they need. And you're getting 7 to 10 to 12 tags, depending on if you buy extra tags and all this kind of stuff. So if you love to be in the outdoors, which the person I was at lunch with today was a very adamant conservationist, outdoorsman, and those types of things, if you want to hunt, you have the opportunity to sit out there and enjoy nature and take that time to harvest more deer, because you only need 2 or 3 deer, but you can provide another 5 or 6 or however many deer to people in the community just by being able to donate.
Yeah.
So we appreciate people that are willing, because again, it takes effort, which I talked about this weekend, to harvest the deer, put it in the vehicle, maybe clean it to the point where the processor is ready to use it. But even to take it to the processor, it's going to take 15 to 30 minutes, depending on where you are. Get the deer to the processor, and then once you get the deer, then of course the whole process starts with that. So it's all those different stages. But yes, there's lots of different ways that people can
help out.
Yes.
Jump in, yeah. Well, we mentioned earlier in the show that 1 in 5 children in the state are experiencing food insecurity. So, Rick, tell us how South Carolina Hunters for the Hungry is teaming up with the Lowcountry Food Bank to make sure children in our state have access to high-quality protein on the weekends.
Okay. Well, we have a snack stick program that we started. It's probably been 4 years now. I don't know how many years we've been partnering with Lowcountry Food Bank, but
since 2023.
Okay. So we have a processor that's sort of in the middle of the state that does all of our snack sticks for us, and when they produce the snack stick, he actually delivers, I think, most of them. So he delivers them to the Charleston area, he delivers to Orangeburg, he delivers to Spartanburg, and then we have a facility in Spartanburg that we deliver to locations in Greenville County. So we cover at least 4 or 5 counties in the state with snack sticks, and we did over 74,000 snack sticks last year.
Wow.
So that's part of the backpack program that I'll talk about the backpack side of it.
Yeah, so they do go into the backpacks, or they're really, it's a bag of food that a child gets on a Friday, and it's really supposed to hold them over until Monday. So it's 2 full meals, 2 breakfasts, and then 2 snacks. And the snack sticks are, it's a great way to get kids additional protein, and
Right.
they need that to grow. And we really like to make sure that the backpacks are any food in the backpacks are easy open. They don't have to be heated, and the snack sticks are perfect for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Brenda, we know that Lowcountry Food Bank has been working tirelessly to feed coastal South Carolina since 1983.
Yep.
Go Lowcountry Food Bank. So we know, some of the challenges that we're facing right now are growing population, the cost of living keeps increasing, the cost of food is going up, but funding sources are decreasing, going in the opposite direction that we need.
That is true.
So with these changes that are relatively recent in funding and, price increasing, what does the end of the year look like for Lowcountry Food Bank, and how can we help you?
Yeah, so we really did take a risk assessment of all of the federal programs that we have, looking at those that have the highest impact. So like the TFAP program, which is the Emergency Food Assistance Program, that is something that is part of the federal Farm Bill. And the Farm Bill keeps many, many farmers in this country in business. So the likelihood of that program being cut is less likely than, they actually did eliminate the LFPA, or the Local Food Purchase Act. That was eliminated in March. And that was where we were able to work directly with local farmers to purchase food from them at market rate. So we're really looking at focusing on fundraising throughout the end of the year. Many nonprofits bring in about 50% of their income in the last quarter of the year, because so many people are looking at, tax benefits and those kinds of things. So we have our Walk to Fight Hunger coming up in September, and then we will, focus on end of year fundraising, and then we go directly into our Chef's Feast, which is our big annual gala that's in February each year.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about the Walk to Fight Hunger?
Sure. So this is the 5th year of the Walk to Fight Hunger, and it's really a great way for the entire family to get involved in helping raise funds for the Lowcountry Food Bank. It's at Wanamaker Park on Saturday, September 20th, and it's kids can they can create a team, get their church group together, walk. You can raise funds online because it's a peer-to-peer fundraising, so kids can go, or anyone can go online and set up a peer-to-peer fundraising page. But then, if you just don't want to do that, you can actually do a food drive and then just donate to the food bank directly. So there are really lots of ways to get involved in the Walk to Fight Hunger.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
And for food drives, you can do it with your neighborhood or a church or your workplace.
And, we ask that be shelf-stable food.
Right.
Because, we don't want to have anything on their shelves that might spoil. So, but no, the shelf-stable food drives, again, it's a great way to get people involved and to raise awareness about food insecurity.
Right. Yeah. Well, and, Rick, similarly, we know fundraising's big for you guys. What fundraiser have you guys just kicked off this season?
Well, we recently started a gun raffle. It's 24 guns. It's 1 ticket for $20, 6 tickets for $100, and you can find that on our website. And there are some nice guns on there, some Christensen's, Bergaras, I can't remember all the different brands and so forth.
Looks like on your flyer that you've got some handguns. Brianna was interested in handguns earlier.
There's a little bit of everything. We got rifles, shotguns, pistols. I'd have to put my glasses on to read all of them.
There's something for everybody, it looks like.
There's camouflage. There's red, white, and blue. There's We got a little bit for everybody. We got patriotic. We got them all.
Yeah.
Camo, everything, just like your scarf.
Yes, I wore my camo scarf to be on theme. But like you said earlier in the show, if somebody's just tuning in, if you are a hunter and donate a deer you've harvested, you're automatically entered in a drawing for a variety of hunting prizes. And the processor that you take it with, if it's in network, it is also entered in a separate drawing.
Right.
So,
and that's something I didn't really get into a lot of detail. I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but basically they have to fill out a short summary of their name and where they took the deer, because we can't put the entry in for themselves or for the processor if they're not in the system. So it takes my communications guy's big into QR codes. He's a millennial, so he's all about using a QR code. And there's a lot of people that I learned real quickly don't know how to use a QR code. So you can always go to the website. You can do the same thing and sign in to get your Deer for Gear giveaway. You can go to the website and sign up for the fundraiser for the gun drawing as well. So.
And can you share that website, please?
It's schuntersforthehungry.com.
Awesome. And we can reach you on Facebook also, right?
Yes, Facebook, and I believe we're also on Instagram with my communications.
And now you're on YouTube.
That's right. And I'm not big on any of that stuff. So.
And Brenda, for those who want to learn more about the Lowcountry Food Bank, what you're doing, your events, ways to get involved, how can they reach you?
They can go online to our website, which is lowcountryfoodbank.org. And there are a variety of ways to get involved. Volunteer. We need volunteers at the food bank, but also out in the community when we're doing food distributions. And even some of our partner agencies need volunteers sometimes. If you're in need of food assistance, there is also a find a pantry. So a person can go in and put their zip code in, and they'll be able to find a pantry near where they live.
Wow.
And then there's also a distribution calendar that has where our distributions are, which partner agencies are doing distributions. So our website really does have a lot of information on it. So for anyone who wants to get involved or someone who does need food assistance.
Lowcountryfoodbank.org and all major social channels.
That's right.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us today. That's all the time that we have. Time flies when you're learning important things. Thank you for tuning in to Power Talk. This is the official broadcast of your electric cooperative. You can catch up on past episodes on streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio, and get a behind-the-scenes look on Berkeley Electric's YouTube channel.